Hey Scorpio, it's Angela from Grounded Dreamers. How are you guys? Going to do a quick overview into the energies. I'm going to call this your May video. But of course, anytime that you come upon this is the time to bring in those energies, or at least to call attention to those aspects of yourself. Okay. Let's get right into it. So I pulled Oracle card for you. That is the guidance that we're going to, use as a theme for this spread. And I'm going to pull the Zen cards right now to do the spread. And your energy that we want you to focus on at this time is the art of listening. This is receptivity. This is, listening is a form of communication as well, as much as speaking is, right? Listening and absorbing, what's there, what are the energies. This could be literally listening to another as you converse and speak, and making sure that your receptivity is a little more relaxed and open as you're conversing, communicating with another. But it could also mean to, this could also just have nothing to do with another and just with yourself. I want to go down a new path, and let me just set that intention and then listen and then wait for the signs. And instead of like taking action and going forward too quickly without, and bypassing signals or signs or energies from spirit that come through, it's kind of calling for a little bit of a pause. And this is also very handy in a conversation too, to be able to pause and absorb what the other's saying before responding, right? So this could be literal for some of you, and it could also be a little more esoteric, which is kind of the path I'm going to take for as we read for it. It's going to be a little more about your own capacity to listen for spirit, listen, your own intuition, and signs from source that bring you through situations. Okay. All right. So your starting point, Scorp, as it pertains to keeping your ear open or keeping your spiritual ear open, is change. Okay. For some of you, just the art of listening and remaining open, that might be a change for you. That just might be the change in your process, is that you're going to listen more. You're going to pause more. I know that, if we come upon something where we're indecisive, or a situation that, comes up that requires us to make a step, make a move, make a choice, sometimes that paralyzes us. Sometimes we want to think our way through it and make our lists of pros and cons, or make sure that we have a game plan set, preset before we start to embark on how to resolve something. But really, sometimes it's just remaining in this moment. And I like this change card because this could mean that, being willing to listen is a change for you in itself. But it could also mean that just a reminder to us that change is constant. It's always happening. That circle's always moving in the universe, always. And if we are going to be willing to be receptive to the change, it's much less painful if we're rested in that center of the spiral, right? It's much less, the energy can be contained better if we pause, sit and listen. Wait for the signs, right? The change is going all around us, but we can wait for the sign of what I want to do next, right? So that's kind of what I got from that card. But this, like I said, it could also mean that learning to listen and being able to pause, and just being able to do that is the change for you. Okay, so but that's a major arcana. This is like a big pivot. Whatever it means for you, it's pretty significant as far as how you're going to apply your new listening skills, your new openness to receiving the signs. Internally, You got this down. Look at that. You got the higher consciousness, the one of the highest cards in the mental deck, right? In the mental section of this deck is the consciousness card. This is your intuition. This is trusting in your higher self always. And this is an internal energy that supports this card of change. So having these two together, it's like there's so much strength and power in that for you. Always being able to trust your intuition, of course, is a, you know, a very important way to move through any kind of a situation. If it's a turmoil situation, or just sort of, you know, maybe an old situation, an old paradigm that you want to kind of shed, that you want to make a shift, and you want to change your old perceptions or the way you approach things, having your higher self on board, of course, is one of the strongest ways to be able to move forward through that. In your external experience, this results, I love this. I love the way these lay out. This results in a breakthrough, right? So I'm choosing to listen more. I'm choosing to still take action, but also pause before doing so that I know what the signals are, and I can be guided toward what step to take. At the same time, I'm going to, you know, rest in the center of the chaos if it's there, and have my higher self on board. That creates a personal breakthrough in your day-to-day life. Now, this could be actually in a relationship. Remember, we talked about having a conversation with another and taking the time to pause and listen. Just that little step, just that little adjustment that you make could result in a really powerful breakthrough of yourself. This is sort of a third chakra busting open, right? This is your will, your sense of self, the way you communicate. And that could really shift just by taking that pause, just by trusting in your higher self and trusting in your guides. Okay, the key to moving forward is this card. Oh, look at that, celebration. It's to be able to celebrate your little wins as you move along. So yeah, I want to learn how to listen better. I want to learn how to look for the signs that the universe provides a little better. That requires me to make some shifts in my life and to make sure that I'm trusting my intuition. But along the way, each time I'm able to successfully do that, I get to enjoy it. I get to celebrate. I get to pat myself on the back and kind of say, you know what? Yeah, I was up against it. I found a new way to approach this issue, right? I listened, I shifted, I paused, and I made the change, right? Now I get to celebrate that, and on to the next thing, on to the next possible, you know, situation where it's going to require me to listen. And then pretty soon this becomes habit, right? You have a more distinct, a more sort of methodical or just grounded way of moving through situations, right? Because you've learned, you know, to trust yourself. A lot of us in the midst of chaos and change, we want to grip on to that outer part of that wheel, which makes us dizzy and want to kind of fly off, right? But learning to pull in and learning to just take that beat, listen for the signs before taking action, that can change the whole course of things, right? And then making sure to be proud of yourself when you're able to successfully, you know, move through something like that. And then your final card, the outcome and the insight into this whole process, is beyond illusion. This is a card of metamorphosis. Everything is not as it seems, right? The cocoon, or the caterpillar in the cocoon, really doesn't have any idea what it's about to become. It just knows instinctually to pull in, to, you know, wrap up and pause. And then look what comes from it, right? Complete growth, complete transformation. And talk about change, you know, it's the ultimate change, ultimately from within. You know, you're really blossoming and opening up all your energies. So starting with this listening energy, you get to move through some really powerful shifts. And then you find yourself in a new place. You find yourself seeing things differently, approaching them differently, being able to pass through challenges more quickly, because you already know the process. You know, I have my higher self on board. I'm going to allow this roadblock or whatever to be there. And as I sit in the middle of it, I'm going to rest in my center, and then, wait for the signs and listen to see what the universe brings me. That creates real, true transformation. And if we could all always apply this sort of path to our challenges, I think we would all have a lot, there would be a lot more ease in our lives. Of course, we're human beings. We forget. We're right here experiencing things. And when things hurt or when they're confusing, sometimes we can contract and we don't listen, and we don't want to stay open and receptive to what's there. And that's okay, because we're human and we can do that. We're allowed. But trying to keep in mind those steps is, it's one way toward real change and real transformation. So let's try to keep our higher selves on board and make sure that we pause and measure, where we are, and then listen for the signs to guide us to move forward. Okay. All right, Scorpio, that will do it. I'll see you in a little bit, probably in a few weeks, couple weeks, maybe. And then we'll do another reading for you. Okay. Take care.